Hey, I just wanted to share my build for PvE, more so the skills and masteries I use to farm open world stuff, not so much single target boss damage. Hopefully this guide can make farming a bit easier and more efficient if you're new or just swapping over to staff Dagger. First, I want to note that I use Queen Bellender's staff. So in this build, we'll have Burning Smokescreen to proc Queen Bell staff passive as much as possible. However, if you don't have it, you won't need to spec into the Burning spec at all. I'll start off with the skills. These are the skills I'm currently running. It's spec more to do AoE damage more than single target. There is only Fire Barrage here that is single target. Meteor and Fireball are pretty much your big AoE targeting skills. I try to get these skills out ASAP in the rotation, and if you're running Burning Smokescreen, I try to lay that down first to get the burning stacks running early on, and to slow the mobs, keeping them as clumped as possible. Ice Tomb also works really great when you get it with the bind spec to make sure all the mobs stay in one spot so you can unload all your damage and AoEs on them. It works really well with classes that can pull and AoE mobs into one spot, or if they have Queen SNS. The moment they're all clumped, you just pop Ice Tomb and everyone just unloads everything on top and the mobs will pretty much melt. Inferno Wave, only because it's an AoE spell. Inject Venom also works great for additional dot damage on the tankier mobs. And these are the passives. Destructive Fang could be good if you run it with the mastery, but I'm not going to go over all the passes just because there's not many options here since you're able to remove the PvP ones to add on more damage focused ones. And this is what I got for the mastery. Ripple would be the most important thing to get along with flame condensation as well as flame wave amplifier. These make sure that you spread your burn. Great for Queen Bellendir users, but not exclusive to them. It also makes sure that the targets that die while burning also activates an Inferno Wave on them. And the increase in range of the damage is also nice. Right now I have it spec'd with some evasions over here because I use this in PvP as well. But you're gonna wanna go for Mana Shockwave instead if you're going for full PvE. You're gonna want these two nodes maxed out here. And then these three nodes are gonna be very important as well to increase burning damage by 10%, 3% magic damage boost, and then the 36 skill damage boost along with the 2 base wisdom. And instead of Mana Shield, you're gonna want Power Surge. Power Surge isn't very good. If you have 12k mana, you will only gain 9.6 damage, which in that case, you're better off going for this node instead to increase your max damage by 10 once it's level 10, if you have limited in mastery levels. But if you get the extra points, you'll want to invest in both to raise your max damage as high as possible because of how important base damage is in the multipliers of the skills. For daggers, I'm gonna show on the quest log instead because my thing is still spec'd for PvP. You'll want to go for the red and the yellow quadrants, primarily aiming for key stats like damage, attack speed, crit damage, and some base stats. The only two really useful skill changing nodes are Potent Toxicity and Strategic Exchange. This will help you get out more damage within a shorter time frame rather than trying to keep the dot on at all times over a longer period. And also Dexterous Power. When you have over 80 dex, your crit damage will increase by 8%, which is pretty big. And because we're only PvEing, the evasion increase of 160 doesn't really matter, so you want it over 80 at all times. For artifacts, you'll want the green Plains Ravager on both the Solar Stone and the Lunar Stone because it adds base damage, which is super important for skill damage multiplier. And then 4-piece Chaos Harbinger for the 9% crit. And aside from the skills and build, there are other things you can do to make farming much easier and more efficient, like mobbing and making use of line of sight correctly to clump range mobs and melee mobs together. This just makes it easy to kill everything at once, making it possible to do bigger batches and bigger pulls in multiple spots. You want to get as high max damage as possible as well. When you combine that with crit chance and heavy attack, you'll be doing big boy damage based on the multiplier, and it makes a big difference. So if possible, spec for builds with high dex and wisdom. And that'll be it. Good luck on your grind.